Okay, so
within 5 months.
within 5 months.
I stopped being a real estate agent, and I went full investor within 5 months. And I let my license
expire. Wow.
And I think that taught me a lot to be disciplined,
Right.
with money, because that's something that you see currently, and a lot of flippers fail, I think, is they start getting all this draw money, right? And do popping bottom.
Yeah.
And then when it starts towards the end of the project, and it's, that drawing coming in anymore.
Right.
So I've learned how to be very disciplined from day one, and I think that's what helped me now still stay disciplined.
Right.
I've always been a risk taker. That's something sometimes my wife said, dude, you just too much risk,
Yeah.
But that's the only way, to be, make something or create wealth.
Yeah.
In real estate, you have to, debt, it's a big factor of you making wealth.
Right.
Because they wanted to code me as apartment complex. So they said, dude, there's nothing in Houston like this, And they want to do sprinklers like apartment, just like a true apartment complex. But we can't do that because it's not going to make sense for you.
Welcome to another episode of Pick Up the Phone podcast. I am your host, Josue Llanas. I'm the founder of GetsYou.ai. I have the first emotional intelligent voice AI for real estate investors. It's not artificial intelligence, it's emotional intelligence. Today's guest is Larry Reyes. Larry has completed 38 projects last year. 19 of those were duplexes. Larry came up with the creation of the Stackable duplex floor plan in the city of Houston. So I'm excited to hear that entire story and how it all came about. And you just went under contract for your first commercial property, 12 units, huh?
Correct, yes, 12 units.
Nice, man. Thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely. So, dude, let's just get into it, man. Let's hear about your story. Let's hear about, where you're from, your upbringing. It's not every day that someone pulls up here with a Lamborghini, bro. So I think everyone at home wants to hear about how you got to where you're at right now.
Sure. So, I was actually born here in Houston, Texas. Same area where I'm actually building all my stuff. Same, people might know it's Federal and Fleming. It's a pretty rough area.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up majority of my life, and then I moved from there to Jacinto City, and then to North Shore area.
Okay.
So I've been living in the Houston area for entire life, and majority of my projects are in the same area.
Nice. So, were you you went to school there in that same area?
Correct. Same
Got
area. Elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Very cool.
Well, I finished my high school in North Shore.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. Have you always been interested in real estate, or how did that come about?
That came about in 2007, right?
Yeah.
So I went to get my real estate license. So when I got my real estate license, back in the day, probably might not, but in real estate, they would have you do office time.
Yeah.
Right. So the first lead that I had was an investor.
Okay.
So when I saw the whole, part of that, and I'm like, dude, money this guy's making back then, right? Versus an agent. And when I sold him the property, I made $300.
You made $300.
$300 for that deal.
Yeah.
For that deal, and I still have that paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm in pay stub.
And how much did the investor make?
Dude, I can't remember because I sold him the property.
Right.
So the back end of it, I don't, he listed or he kept it. I'm not sure.
Right.
But he showed me the numbers, and I was trying to explain, this really makes sense. So he explained to me exactly what all he was going to do, rehab it, same thing we do currently.
Right.
And I said, dude, that's the area that I want to be in, right? So that was in November, and then by March, I already had one flip.
Okay, so
within 5 months.
Within 5 months.
I stopped being a real estate agent, and I went full investor within 5 months. And I let my license
expire. Wow.
Yep.
Man, that's ballsy, dude. That's, congrats. Like, I feel like a lot of times people, it takes a lot of courage to get out of something, like out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Correct. I've always been a risk taker, dude. That's something sometimes my wife said, dude, you just too much risk,
Yeah.
But that's the only way, to be, make something or create wealth.
Yeah.
In real estate, you have to, debt, it's a big factor of you making wealth,
Right.
You gotta have debt.
Right. Well, the right kind of debt, right? Because there's also bad debt. So.
Correct. What do they say? They say debt creates wealth and helps you pay taxes legally, right? Something like that. Or helps you avoid taxes legally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely, man. So what were you doing before real estate? What kind of, did you have a job?
Yeah. I was a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those are did about 3 years. But even then, that's so me being a entrepreneur. It always from the very beginning, right? So I was the youngest fitness manager in 24 Hour Fitness. So they gave you like a like a free trip to Vegas after you accomplish so much. So I was the number one sales person in the whole 24 Hour Fitness. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. In the whole United States.
The whole United States.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
And back I was 22 years old, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
I was making $100,000.
That's a 22-year-old.
22-year-old. Being a
That's a 22-year-old fitness trainer.
Fitness trainer making $100,000.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of memberships.
But no, it's a personal training. So you were selling personal training time. That's
Got
what
it.
we're selling. Yeah.
Got it.
But so people don't know this, but yeah, when you're as a personal trainer, and I get a lot of heat for it, I still say it, but you are a salesperson first, then you're a trainer.
Right.
People, oh, I'm a trainer, but no, you're a salesperson first.
You have to be, yeah.
Without selling, then you're not going to have nobody to train you.
Right. Absolutely, man. Yeah. So 5 months after you have your real estate license, you see someone, an investor, you see the process, and you're like, wow, this is what I want.
Right.
Right. So what was your first deal like?
The first deal, so I had no money, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, they were able to give you money back for repairs, even included in your loan, right? So I got an FHA loan on it.
Okay.
So the property was valued, even if it was distressed, it appraised for about $65,000, right?
Okay.
So what I done is we offered $40,000. So the property was up for sale for 48 or 49, right? And in the same area, coincidentally, in the same area, Clinton Drive, actually. So I bought the property and I made an amendment, right, that he was going to give me $25,000 back. So we did a contract at 65, so the sales price was 40, and I did an amendment to get for repairs $25,000.
Right.
And it got approved and everything, and that's how I started.
So with an FHA loan.
Correct. FHA.
So the very first deal was
and then back in the day, I don't know if you were able to get approved just by saying, okay, make this much money. So it's very easy to right.
That's kind of what led to the 2008 crash.
Correct.
Yeah.
But people that were able to took advantage of that, like I did, you know, I used it on my favor, right? Because I obviously didn't default on my properties.
Right. So you bought your first deal then, and then that was when, in 2007 or 2008?
2008. I bought two, right? And immediately when I bought them, the market crashed.
Boom.
Down. And then I went into the oil field.
Yeah.
Right. And then I went into the oil field in 2008, and I was in the logistic part, right? So I built that company to like a $5 million company.
Okay.
And
Nice.
then in 2013, it's like everything fell in place. Like 2013, the oil field crashed.
Yeah.
And then when the oil field crashed, the real estate market started coming up.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, dude, so I sold the company, and it was a partnership between my dad and I.
Yeah.
And then that just tanked, and it just never recuperated, dude. It's never recuperated, the oil field.
Yeah.
And then the real estate came back, and then I was like, dude, well, I needed some type of income, so I opened up a restaurant.
Right.
And then I created that concept in 2014. And opened it in 2014, and then I sold that restaurant in 2017. And it's still open. That restaurant's still open.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then I was flipping in 2013. I was doing one or two a year.
Yeah.
Right. Because I had the restaurant. And then I went full out, like maybe 2016. I said, fuck it, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, I did my first new construction.
2017.
Yeah. So I flipped from, when I came back, I was doing 2 or 3 years of flipping. And then in 2016, I went to new construction.
Very nice. So you've kind of done a little bit of everything. What kind of oil and gas company did you have?
I was the logistic part. So everything that has to do with the casing, or 2 3/8 all the way up 20-inch before it goes down hole, we would inspect it, right? To say, okay, you know what, Petrohawk or wherever the company is, they would hire me as a third party. So they would buy the tubing from a brokerage, right? And then to ensure that pipe was good, they would hire me to inspect the pipe before they said, okay, give the green light. Okay, it goes down the hole.
Right.
And when it came out of the hole, we would re-inspect them, and whatever was good, back to the shelf, and then whatever was bad, then we'd reject them, and they would cut them and rethread them and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
Maintenance and all that.
How'd you get into that?
My dad, actually.
Yeah.
My dad was in the oil for his entire life when he immigrated here to the States in 81.
Yeah.
He started in the oil field.
Okay.
And he never left the oil field.
Yeah. He's still in it?
No, my dad passed away in 2017. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He was young.
Yeah.
He was 57.
He was young, very young.
Had a massive stroke.
Stroke.
Yeah.
Down. Stress.
Yes, I think that's he had a lot of stress because on like June they got my uncle. My uncle was an immigrant, so they had that big old raid like they have currently.
Yeah.
In 2017, when Obama was office.
Yeah.
And he got busted. Then I had a sister. She had a bike accident, and then my grandmother within those 3 months, bro, June, July, and August. Then my grandmother had diagnosed with cancer, skin cancer. And and then we had that storm. Remember what was it in 2017? August.
Harvey.
Yeah, his house flooded, bro, all the way to like the roof.
Oops.
Like my dad's house. So all that compacted within 3 months.
Damn.
Right? And then the oil field was done. So he was like, a little bit of work that just got him through the month till the next job came over.
Right.
So I think that just
there's a lot of stress.
It just got to him, dude. Yeah. And then, dude, I was talking to him like a day just like normal, right?
Yeah.
10 o'clock, 10:30, and then 30 minutes they call me, hey, dude, your dad just passed out, and yeah.
Wow.
He never woke up.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, man. Yeah. But man, that's I'm sure that's giving you a lot of fortitude over time, right?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Man, well, let's switch gears, man. I mean, I think it's important to focus on the positives of life, right?
Correct,
and everything,
correct.
all the opportunities that you've had. So, what happened after you got your restaurant? Like, what happened after that?
So I opened the restaurant because my dad loved restaurants. So
Yeah.
I decided selling it because he passed away, right?
Yeah.
So when he passed away, I said, dude, I don't want to have nothing to do with this restaurant.
Right.
And then my mom was like, it's okay. So it took me like 6 months just to step foot into that. And she was handling the whole business of it, right?
Mm.
So I was just kind of like in a rest mode just for 6 months. So
for sure.
He passed away in September, and I didn't go back into the restaurant like February.
Wow.
So it was a big lapse. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I told her, you know what, I'm gonna sell it, or close it. I would tell her, just close it.
Yeah.
She, what do you mean we're gonna close this? Making good money, this and that. And I'm like,
Right.
do whatever you want, within those 6 months. But then
Right.
obviously, it's not that you forget, but you start living with the actual him not being there with you.
Right, right.
So then little bit, it's just healing, right? Just
Right. It's part of the healing
part of
process.
the process. And then, dude, I put it up in the market on Saturday, and by Sunday I had 2 people in there, and boom, sold it.
Really?
And then when I took a chunk, but I wanted a chunk to be in monthly installments for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So that I was able to focus on real estate 100% and
Right.
not focus on income, right?
Right.
So with that money that was coming in, it was about $6,000 a month. I was living off of that, paying my, bills, just my life, right? And then so I could start building this real estate and do full-time real estate.
Yeah. Nice, man. Love to hear it. So that was around 2017, 2018?
2017.
2017.
Correct.
So sold the restaurant, and then you're like, all right, full back in.
Correct.
And that was the right time to get right back into real estate, bro. Right after Harvey.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. And so I got into flipping, right? But then I immediately saw that it wasn't the same as it was in 2007 or 2008.
What was different
the numbers,
from your perspective?
Because now there was more flippers, so the spread, wholesalers, there was wholesalers now. So the spread of you making money wasn't as much as, and it still isn't, on flips. People would tell you, oh, dude, you're lucky if you're making $20,000 on a flip, Well, in my business, right? Because I do nothing but spec homes. I don't flip anything that's above 240, 250 grand.
Right.
So I stay within that little, the big buying pool. So immediately when I saw it, I was like, dude, I was making 15, 20 grand. I'm like, dude, if I was just doing 2 a year, right?
Yeah. It's not enough.
Dude, you're like, dude, that's not enough.
Yeah.
So then I was like, that's when I got the idea of new construction. And then I bought my first lot, and then that's when I built the duplex.
So you developed it at the beginning.
Correct,
yeah.
at the very beginning. Not knowing anything about new construction, but
you just went right in. Yeah. Talk about taking risks, right?
Yeah, but same thing, But I had the idea of how everything structure and stuff like that because I've been flipping for so long.
Yeah, for sure. At that point, how many deals had you had done, or how many?
I had
flips?
done probably, I'm gonna say in my entire career, probably about 20.
20.
yeah.
20. Okay,
20,
cool.
25.
So you had experience, and you probably had some cash on the account and everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was totally business, so I had sold my restaurant. That's what I was telling you about our lender, right? So I
Yeah.
met my lenders in 2015, and we've been doing business for 11 years already.
11 years.
11 private lender, right?
Right.
So, and it's funny because now, dude, they'll fund me up front. Like, say I'll buy a house today. Like, I bought a house yesterday, and then like they'll tell me, hey, how much money you need for the month, and they'll, for demoing. But I've built that trust. It took me like 7 years to build that trust.
Right.
So now that's another part of my success of building so fast, because money never stops coming in.
Right.
Because it's everything's up front.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. But
yeah,
I do pay my dues, and I am very responsible. And you could ask them. That's something that they tell me. Goes, Larry, we lend to few people, and you are the only person that hasn't called 1 month and said, hey, can you wait for me a week? The 11 years that they've been lending me, not one time have I asked, hey, dude, can you wait for me a week? I can't.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
They're paying me on time.
Right. Yeah. That builds a lot of trust, a lot of reputation, man. Yeah.
Correct.
For sure. So yeah, no wonder they just financed everything up front.
So when I had it took him a year, dude, to convince me. So I met him in 2015. So we did the first deal in 2016, and then he like, dude, it's because that's the only way you're going to scale. But I was still my little box, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to pay interest. So I said, okay, this is what we do. The house was 90 grand, right?
Yeah.
So I said, this is what we do. 90 grand, just lend me 30 grand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, so you're going to fund the rest? I said, yeah, I'll fund the rest and the rehab. And then he goes like, but mind you, at this time I didn't know, right? He's telling me, so can I be first lien? And I'm like, sure, you could be first lien, right? And then at that point, he's like, dude, that's when I knew that you weren't going anywhere, because you allowed me to be first lien on $30,000.
Yeah.
And that's all the lend me. And then little by little, we started, increasing. And then they've helped me a lot. They've guided me a lot how to scale,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we became very good friends, dude. Very, very good friends.
So at the beginning, were you just financing everything by yourself?
Everything by myself.
Really?
100%. Yeah.
Purchase,
rehab, everything.
Everything, holding costs.
Correct.
So no lenders at all.
No lenders at all.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. Well, that's a really good way to stay very lean in your operations.
And I think that taught me a lot, dude, to be disciplined,
right,
with money, because that's something that you see currently, and a lot of flippers fail, I think, is they start getting all this draw money, right? And dude, popping bottles.
Yeah.
And then when it starts towards the end of the project, and it's, that drawing coming in no more.
Right.
So I've learned how to be very disciplined from day one. And I think that's what helped me now still stay disciplined.
Right.
Money.
Yeah.
And responsibilities, that you have to.
Liquidity is so important whenever you're doing real estate, man.
So now my focus is in 3 years, I'm going to be a lender.
Lender?
That's the focus, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm almost 3 years away.
What's it going to take for you to be a lender?
I'm $5 million liquid.
$5 million. Okay. You need to have 5 liquid, and then
$5 million.
Right. And then be able to go and maybe get a line of credit with a bank or something.
No, I'm just going to lend my $5 million.
That's it.
That's it. And then, but if you lend it at 10-11%, that's $500,000.
Yeah.
But I'm building also at the same time. I'm building a portfolio that I'm going to have about 25-30 grand monthly, cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have that, and then lending, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Dude, the rhythm of life that I have currently, dude, it's not healthy. It's a lot of work. People are like, oh my God, you're doing this. Yeah. But dude, it's not healthy, dude.
Right.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
I don't see myself doing this 10 years or 5 more years,
Right. It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. Yeah. But then all my crews and projects, my son will inherit that, So then I'll be his lender, and then I'll make him what these lenders made me,
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Be able to kind of pass on the torch.
Correct.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. That's a great legacy you'll be able to leave behind. Man, I'd love to get into your story on how you created the first stackable duplex floor plan. But before we do, let's take a quick commercial break here. If you're a real estate investor in Houston, Texas, you need to listen up. Andrew Fott with Renovo is the #1 lender with DSCR 30-year fixed loans. He can do 1 to 4 family. He can do 5 units plus. He can do commercial, anything you need. Andrew Fott is your #1 source for long-term financing. Right now, his current rates are high 5s to low 6s. He's got a 1 to 2 points in origination, and he can fund up to 75% loan to value, so he can refinance you, cash you out right out of that hard money loan that you have, no problems. And he's a direct lender, which means that you don't have to go through any AMC BS, right? So what that means is they have an in-house appraiser. No need to chase an appraiser to figure out how they do business. Renovo has it all in-house. They also have a in-house servicing company. So anytime you need any help with tax forms, any help with servicing your loan. Andrew is one phone call or email away to help you out. I'm a testament of this. He has one of my long-term notes, and it's always smooth as pie to get any sort of documents that I need. So Andrew's a relationship-based lender, meaning that if you're trying to figure out something with your loan, he can help you through it, guide you through it, and set you up for success. So if you're interested in a 30-year fixed rate loan, hit up my boy Andrew Fott with Renovo. His phone number is 210-425-2190. If you're a wholesaler in Houston, Texas, Case & Sullivan is the #1 guy to getting your deal sold in as little as 3 days. So Case & Sullivan works for the #1 buyer in all of Houston. This is called New Western. It's a massive operation. They have 20 to 30 dispo agents working around the clock to sell your deal as soon as you get it. All you need to do is, if you have your deal, call up Kaysen. If you give him just 2 to 3 days, if you give him property access, he can get you any number on any deal. They have a full closing team, so you don't have to worry about escrow, transaction coordination, any legal. And that gives you less time selling the property and more time to source your own deals. And that's how you scale your company. Case & Sullivan closed 72 deals last year, so you know that this guy is the real deal and an actual operator. You can reach out to Kaysen at 409-527-1115. If you're a real estate investor in Texas, Natalie Basak with Black Label Title is the #1 title company for real estate investors. Here's why. Natalie can pull free instant property reports for existing clients that show liens, nearby foreclosures, any delinquent taxes. This is so that investors can do their due diligence before going under contract. I'm sure she could even help you out if you need to do some sort of due diligence. If you're going to go buy at the auction, Natalie Basak is the #1 person for you. They are backed by multiple underwriters, so they have different people that can make sure that your deal gets closed. And I think what's really cool about them is that they do pass through A to B closings. This means that you don't need transactional funding. This alone saves you several $1,000s on every closing that you do. That is a double closing. So that means that you can use the B2C transaction to be able to fund the A to B, no transactional funding needed. They're familiar with all investor transactions from assignments, double closes, novations, sub-twos, wraps, anything that's creative. Reach out to Natalie Basak. Her phone number is 936-442-8486. Natalie Basak with Black Label Title. All right, and we're back. So Larry, let's talk about the duplex, the stackable duplex floor plan. You said you're the first one that came up with the stackable duplex.
Stackable duplex.
Yeah. So let's hear about that, bro.
So I'll start from the beginning, right? How I came up with that idea. So in 2015, before I started my, I had the idea of new construction, right? I was telling you that I did new construction in 2016 or 17 was the first project. But the idea started coming in 2015.
Yeah.
So a trip that I had in Chicago, I visited my cousin, and then he lived in an apartment complex, but they weren't apartments, they were duplexes, just one-story duplexes, massive, right? And anywhere you drove by that there was apartment complexes, the majority of them are duplexes. It's weird, right? Yeah. And I asked him, I said, dude, what's this? He goes, dude, they call them duplex. I said, duplex? Yeah. I've never heard that, or we didn't have seen them here in Houston. Yeah. And then I come back to Houston, and then I was working with my engineer, and I told him, I said, this is what I have planned. He goes, dude, why do you want to do a duplex? Who's going to want to live side by side somebody? This and that, blah, blah. It's not going to work. This and that. Just build a house. I said, dude, but I just don't want to be just like everybody else, right? So anyhow, so he said, okay, let's do it. So we built it, and in that same area. So everything started in that same area where I did the stackables, right? Yeah. And mind you, back in the day, I was buying lots for $7,000. It was that neighborhood was pretty tough,
You're buying lots for $7,000.
$7,000.
Holy cow.
Now they're going. How big? For 5,000 square feet.
Okay, what are they selling for now?
Now they're selling for 55. So I bought a lot, dude. I bought a lot. Yeah. And so as I was building, when I built the first one, everybody was building single family homes. So they were selling those homes for 160, 170, 175. Right. And then here I rolled with my duplex, and I'll sell it at 245, and it appraised, right? So they caught on, right? Like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
So they were doing duplexes one story, but at this point they weren't, copying the floor plan because it's a big, big uh, piece of land. So they were able to be creative, I should say, right, on the elevation and the floor plan. So, but at that point I was like, dude, it's getting saturated with duplexes, and it was harder for you to sell the duplexes because there was more inventory.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's back up a little bit because I think the biggest story here is you creating the first stackable duplex,
Correct.
right? So before you came along, obviously there was a lot of duplexes in Houston, right? But the main distinction was that they were side by side.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So can you explain a little bit for everyone that's watching and listening to this? What is the difference between the side by side and why is it special that now you're putting it stackable?
So you're able to build more square footage in the least amount of land. Right.
Okay.
So when I created that is I split the lots, right? So it had a 5,000 square foot lot, so it's 50 by 100. So I split it 25 by 100. Okay. Right. So when I done that, the traditional duplex that you're going to see, it's a wall in the middle, right? You'll see 2-story duplexes, unit A up and down, unit B up and down, with a firewall in the middle, right?
Right.
So what I created was a true 1 unit downstairs and a true 1 unit upstairs in 2,500 square feet lot, 25 by 100. And each duplex is 1,184 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, each unit. So when I was trying to separate myself from us, how can I separate myself from everybody that's, doing duplex again? So that's when I went, my engineer, he's like, dude, I don't know. Same thing that happened didn't believe in the first one. Right. And even my lenders are like, dude, I don't know if that's going to work. Who's going to want to buy a duplex on a 2,500 square foot lot? There's no backyard,
Is it because most duplexes are typically they're side by side? So because they're side by side, they'd have to be on a 5,000 square foot lot?
No, not necessarily, because nobody had this idea before, right? So my idea came from townhomes. You know how townhomes are they're behind each other. So I said, dude, what if I do that on a duplex, right? So your traditional duplex has always been duplex, and that's it. Firewall in the middle, that's it. Unit A, unit B. Period.
All right. So, but there's a unit A, unit B,
and a firewall in the middle.
I know. But what kind of square foot lot are they sitting on typically?
A 5,000 square foot lot.
5,000.
Correct. 5,000 square, or maybe more.
So, but that's the difference, right? That
correct. You can't build a duplex in anything smaller than 50 foot wide, 1 story.
Before you came along.
Before I came along. Correct.
So that's the specialties, and that now you're able to take advantage of a 5,000 square foot
and do
lot
4 units,
and do 4 units instead of 2.
Correct.
Right.
Because now you're going up and down, because there's a minimum amount of width of land that you need for doing 2 properties, right? 2 homes. And now that we have, theoretically, you're still doing the same thing, right? Using the half of it, but then you're doing the other half on top. So that's what we created, and that's what. So when we're with the city, it took me like 9 months, man, back and forth with the city, because they wanted to code me as apartment complex. So they said, dude, there's nothing in Houston like this, and they want to do sprinklers like they're like apartment, just like a true apartment complex. But we can't do that because it's not going to make sense for you. They really truly wanted to help me out, right? To evolve, right? And so when we done it, they helped them how to draw it, fire codes and like firewalls, everything how it needed to be done, AC stuff. Like they just helped on everything, the whole process. And then my engineer took another maybe month to draw it up and then submit it to the city, and it took about maybe another 5 or 6 months to approve. Yeah. But then after that, the building part of it, because I've never been in I've done duplexes with fire codes, but these fire codes were complete different.
Yeah. How so?
Dude, because you have a unit downstairs and a unit upstairs, so you have to have a 2-hour delay if downstairs catches on fire, so that upstairs has 2 hours to get out of the property. So that's the code. Right? Yeah.
So you have to do some sort of different building materials there.
No, like, it's pretty much it's sheetrock, right? So you have to do 1 hour, 2 hour sheetrock on between up and down.
That's it.
Separate. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And then the AC, there's no pockets of air. There's a big complex, especially on the unit downstairs. Upstairs, because you do your AC in the attic. So there's little regulations and codes that they want you to do, right? Especially in the unit downstairs. Yeah, in the unit downstairs. Correct.
Okay, interesting, man.
And then so when I built it, right, and then this is the funny part. So I built it, and So we put up for the market, right? And then the first day, right, we had 45 showings, dude.
45 showings.
45 showings, right?
The first day.
The first day.
And when was this?
This was in 2021.
2021. Yeah.
45 showings, and my son was like, "Dude, what the fuck?" 25 showings. But at that point, my son was helping me, but he was doing all the transactions through a buddy of mine, his real estate license. So he didn't have his real estate license yet.
Yeah.
And so we got him on the contract the next day.
Yeah.
But did I know that the majority of those cats were going in there measuring and taking pictures and stuff like that?
Really?
So that's when, yeah. So I didn't know it. So 4 or 5 months later, we start seeing them popping up, and I'm like, dude, that's my stuff,
Yeah.
And that's how everything started just getting out of control.
Wow.
Doing the similar floor plan.
Yeah.
And it became very popular. It's very popular. And like I was telling you earlier,
yeah,
it became popular because even if you don't want to, you got to copy me, right? Because we've maximized the width of the construction and the length of the construction on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So even if you don't want to, you have to copy
to stay competitive with you, right?
With the square footage,
right?
Correct. And then so we were having them at $390, right?
Yeah.
I sold the last one $390 January of last year, 2025, and then it just got saturated. You know, from people copying me to people building duplexes like mine on 2,500 square foot. So they sat, January. So they sat February, March, and I told my son, I said, dude, we got to figure this out, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of inventory. I had 6 in the market.
Yeah.
6, right?
And they weren't selling.
They weren't selling because, dude, there was a lot of them, right? So I had 6, and there was about 10 more, dude, in the market. So I told my son, you know what? What we're going to do? I said, we're going to saturate the market. He goes, what do you mean? I said, how many lots I got? He said, well, you can still have 10 more lots. I said, okay, list them all. 16 lots, the 6 that I have plus 10 lots, pre-construction, slash $10,000 off them. So $379. That's the first 10 grand slash that I've done, right? And that was on a Wednesday. By Monday, all 6 were under contract. Dropping it 10 grand.
Yeah, only 10 grand.
10 grand.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, an agent calls me, right? But first she said she was the agent of one of the guys that had copied me, right? He's like, hey, we're seeing that you guys are moving these, but, dropping the price doesn't really help, because it's, you want these to appreciate, not depreciate, and I'm like, okay. So, and I was just listening, right? And then she's like, so I just talked to this guy and he was telling me to get with you and see what you think. What's a number that you want? Because you're the guy that created this. What's a number you want to be at so we could all be in? I said, dude, you can't do that. You're steering, right? I said, number one. Number two, I said, tell him that, that's what he gets for being, for copying this stuff. And number two, that's not the reason. The reason is because there's so many duplexes. So it's not because you're copying. It's just because there's so many duplexes, we have to drop the price. And when there's a lot of it, what do you got to do?
Yeah.
You got to drop the price,
Yeah.
or they're just going to sit there.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing. I said, if you tell him that if he matches my price, I'm going to drop another $10,000. And guess what he done?
What's that?
He matched the price, right?
Yeah.
And guess what I done?
Drop the dome.
$10,000, right?
Yeah.
So I think now they got it because I've been dropping, every time they match me, I've been dropping them 10 grand. So I'm at 359 right now.
359?
Yeah. And I'm telling you, dude, I go to 310, dude. I don't.
Yeah.
I'll still make, because I'm in the volume, So for me, if I make 20, 30 grand per building, I'm doing, 40, 50 a year. It doesn't,
It doesn't bother you too much. So let's back up here. You created this stackable duplex plan, and then people started copying you. When was that? When was it again that you mentioned that you made the?
It's 2021.
2021. Okay, so then you get started. You're doing these duplexes. It didn't take long for people to catch on.
Correct.
And now the market's kind of saturated at this point. Now we're sitting here in 2026, 5 years later. The market's saturated.
Correct.
Right. And so, what have you done to distinguish yourself now from everyone that's kind of come in and try to copy your design?
So what I've done is I've dropped it, like I was telling you, 360, 359.
Yeah.
But I sell them pre-sale. So now everything you see that's up for sale, that's under contract, it's still under construction, right? So I'm able to turnkey these things in 12 weeks, right? So I'll build them in 12 weeks. So they'll call me and they'll call my son and say, hey, when these things are going to be ready, right? So that's how I separate myself from everybody, because everybody doesn't have the system that I do to build so fast, right? Like this year, I was telling you earlier, this year we've done 13. So that's what separates me from everybody. I have a system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
from the beginning of the year, January to now, we're on a 13th build. So that's what's separate, and the price, obviously.
Yeah. 13th. You're on your 13th
build. Yeah.
Wow.
Duplex. Yeah.
This year alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And out of those 13th, I've sold. I just closed 2 today, so I've sold 4. I sold 6 of them this year.
6.
Close already. Yeah.
Wow.
And then out of the other 4 are in a contract.
What do you think is your secret to success right now? Because you're doing a lot of volume, right?
Correct.
But obviously there were some decisions that you made in the previous years to lead you to where you're at today. What do you think those decisions were?
Man, I think I've never been. I think I've always been very, very good with my people.
Yeah.
Right. And this growth, right, started since probably 4 years ago. And I sat down with my team, right, my framer, electrical, plumber, and all that. I said, dude, this is my plan, right? But I want you to guys be part of me, right? So all my entire crew has been with me since 2015, dude.
Wow.
My AC guy, electrical plumber, framer, a tile guy, everybody, sheetrock guy, they've all been. That's why a lot of people are like, dude, you know, I mean, you said, but they're always going to be loyal to me, right?
Yeah.
And I've always taken care of them. Never, hey, I need my money today. That's their money, you know. So I think that's a pretty big key. Hey, man, let me get my draw. You know, I've never done that. You know,
Yeah.
they get paid whenever they want to get paid, or they're done with the work. And I think that's a lot of people. You know, they don't take care of their subs. You know, and they you know, milk them as much as they can, saying, okay, I got to get my draw. You know,
right.
So I think that's one of the reason and how much I build. You know, so I build very, very cheap, very, very cheap. Because I have volume prices, right? So my framer is going to give me a price, right? Because I'm giving him 40, 50 a year, but he's not going to give you that price, right? Plus he doesn't have time,
right?
You know, because he's from
too
one project,
busy doing yours,
yeah, from one project to another, yeah. Like right now we have 18 projects right now, dude.
Yeah,
running
18 projects
running between flips and
how many of those are flips, new construction, and duplexes?
New construction, duplex. I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 duplexes in construction, and then the rest are homes.
Okay, so 9 flips.
Correct.
Okay, and the rest are
the rest. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. At the beginning, you started selling them for $240, $245.
The one story. The one story. Yeah. But
okay.
But when I started, to test the waters, I was doing 3-bedroom, 1 bath.
Okay.
And again, you know, there was other, you know, they hadn't appraised so much, so you know, we were at the, you know, lower end of value of homes. You know.
What are those units renting for?
$1,700 almost.
$1,700.
Yeah. That's another thing, you know. When you walk in that area, right? We've maximized the rent comp, right? So if you have Larry here, right, that's selling at $360, right? Why am I going to go buy yours that you're telling him at $390? Yeah. When I'm going to get the same amount of rent,
of course,
right?
Yeah. And
they're still doing it, right? But I think it has a lot to do. You know, sometimes the agents are not very transparent. You know, and then we'll get to that about agents in that area, because the deal is that they're still appraising for $390, right? They are appraising for $390 because that's the value of the duplex. Even though I'm selling them at $360, I'm still getting appraisals, even though I'm selling them at $360 for $390. Yeah. Even the buyers, like, they're happy, like, dude, I just got $30,000 worth of equity. Yeah. I said, I told you so. You know, they're between $390 and $394, right? But a lot of agents, just to make the sale or get more commission, they'll go and show the more expensive duplex. You know, when bigger square footage and cheaper by $30,000. And these people, you see, they're listing them, dude, and they're giving them some bogus numbers, right? Like $2,000 rent or $2,100. And this, dude, they're sitting there for months because they're not renting. People are not going to rent them at $2,100. Right. So now that investor is like, dude, well, I don't know, you know, that's out there to rent, but it's not that. It's just that rent comp it's not what you told me it was going to be. You know, it's $1,700. Yeah, that's what it is.
When did people, you know, you've established yourself as, you know, the Duplex King, right? And creating this stackable duplex model. And I'd love to get into when it happened that people started copying, you know, your product. And I can tell you're very passionate about this. So I'd love to talk to you about when they first started copying you, and then like what that process has been like. Because obviously, you know, we're in a very competitive market. Right. And you're going to want to stand out, right? And you're going to want to, like, you know, win. So I'd love to talk to you about how the competition has came in and done all these things. But before we do, let's take a quick moment and hear from our sponsors real quick. Right. Guys, if you're doing business in Houston and you don't have a great title company, I highly recommend you guys to use Natalie Murillo with Black Label Title. They were awarded the best title company in 2026 by Houston Latino Magazine. But I think what's truly impactful of working with Natalie is that her title company can do pass-through funding for A to B closings. If you're an investor, this is very important to you because it means that you don't need to have your own funds to be able to finance an A to B closing on a double close. You can use the funds from the C to B to fund A to B transaction. If you don't understand what that means, reach out to Natalie. She can explain it all to you. More importantly, you can make a very big assignment fee without your buyer or your seller finding out what that fee is. So it's a great opportunity to get with a investor-friendly title company. They also do blind HUDs, assignments, novations, subject to wraps. And so they close in all Texas counties, right? So they can do e-signing. You don't even have to have a closing in the title company, right? They do CE classes. Listen, guys, if you're wholesaling or you're investing in Texas, you need to call Natalie Murillo with Black Label Title. And the link for Natalie is going to be in the show notes. So the number for Natalie Murillo is 936-442-8486. Make sure you mention Josue Llanas with Pick Up the Phone podcast. If you're a real estate investor anywhere in the United States, you need to listen up. GetHardMoney.com is a free platform for real estate investors. You can find local hard money, connect with the lender directly, request term sheets, and chat all in one single place. What I really like about the website is that they have free tools. They have built-in AI comping. They have flip property calculators. They have cash to close calculators. Everything's 100% free. You don't even need to sign up to be able to use their calculators, which I find extremely useful whenever I'm running numbers on a property. So it's going to be free all the time, no cost ever. So if you're investing and you need a lender connections or you need deal analysis tools, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer sign up. So the way to sign up is you go to GetHardMoney.com and the link is going to be in the show notes. If you're a nationwide real estate investor, you need to go check out GetHardMoney.com. GetHardMoney.com is the number one place to find local hard money lenders. You can connect with them directly. You can request term sheets. You can chat all in one single place. The coolest thing that I think about GetHardMoney.com is that you have free tools built in, AI comping, you have a flip profit calculator, cash to close calculator. What's really cool about it also is that it's 100% free. You don't have to go and buy anything. You can sign up. You can use all the tools that they have. They have tools added there all the time. No cost ever. So if you're investing and you need lender connections, this site works nationwide. If you need deal analysis, this thing is a no-brainer. There's no cost to sign up. It's just free value, free connections to any real estate lender out there. So go sign up, GetHardMoney.com. All right, Larry. So we're back. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about the journey of creating something and then, competition coming in, kind of taking a little bit of your creation. You spoke a little bit, before we started filming here about different things. You said the interior floor plan is you can't trademark that. You can't copyright it. You can't copyright it. So how is that different from you called it elevation?
The front look of the property. You could copyright the front part of the property, but if they change, I think 10-15%, then it doesn't work, right? So that copyright, you can't sue them for it, right? Okay. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be me who's suing them, it's the engineer, because the stamp, it's my design, but really who owns it is the engineer, because that's the stamp, right? Got it. So because my engineer went with the city and I told her what was going on, and that's what they told her. And floor plan, you can't copyright because it's a private property. Yeah. Right. So you could do the same exact thing, they will never copy. I mean, you can't do anything about it. Yeah. So what happened, bro? So I was telling you, right? So when we put these up in the market, right, we had 45 showings, right?
When was this? What year was this?
2021, end of 2021.
Okay.
45 showings, right? Out of those 45, I'm assuming a lot of those were because we only had, out of the 2 buildings, we had 4 offers, right? So we had multiple offers. So we only kept 2, obviously. So theoretically, maybe, I don't know, 30 of them were investors, people in the area that just wanted to go see what I'd done, right? Because people thought it were townhomes. People thought it were a 2-story home.
Yeah.
Till we listed them and it said duplex.
Yeah.
So then that's when people went. So a couple people, copied me, right? And which it doesn't matter, right? Because if you do something right, or something good, they're going to copy.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing happens. Home Depot, Lowe's, these franchise, McDonald's, Burger, they copy each other, the system, right?
I think when people copy you, it's the best form of flattery.
Correct. But where I got hurt is there was I wouldn't call it a friend, but
Acquaintance.
Yeah. And he wanted me, to be his mentor. He wanted to follow me, like jump on my truck. And he did for a few times, like a month.
Yeah.
But did I know? And he was very persistent of walking my new constructions, not necessarily my flips, right? And I was telling him, hey, I'm going to be here on my flip. You want to come? Mm-hmm. No, just tell me when you're in new construction, right? Mm-hmm. But did I know that behind my back, I don't know if he was filming, taking notes, taking pictures, whatever the case may be. And it was 2 people. I'll tell you the story of the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
So the first one, and dude, and I call them out every day, even at this point. Yeah. I call them little Larrys. They're all little Larrys.
Yeah.
And I call him up. Sometimes he'll show his banner, and I say, yeah, you just need the Duplex King right there. Or sometimes I'll say, dude, how does it feel? Knowing somebody that creates something that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then he's just like high five and stuff like that. But so. Did I know? I didn't even know what he was doing, how he was filming, taking measurements, whatever he was doing, right? And 6 months later, mm-hmm. right, I see that he's posting that he's building in the area, right? Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm like, building the area, and I drove by there and I saw just by the pipes, the ground pipe, I knew exactly what it was, right? And I called him, I said, hey, dude, I said, is that my stuff? He goes, yeah, but you know what? I was just hired to be the builder, which he is. He's the builder. He's not an investor or anything. He's just a builder. Yeah, they just hired me, I said, well, how did they come up with that floor plan? Right? I said, that's my floor plan.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I don't know, dude. I don't know, And he tried to blame it to another real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
Which that real estate agent approached me, right? And during this copying or, taking notes or whatever. So when they done their homework with me, mm-hmm. or on me, mm-hmm. They sold. Now I know what they've done. So what this agent done, and it's very bad, very bad. I think it's to a certain point it's like fraudulent, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're selling the project, right? They're telling they'll hire you, right? And say, mm-hmm. hey man, you want to be an investor? Yeah, okay. I got this project, right? It's going to cost you this much to build. I got the builder, which is this guy mm-hmm. that that one that copied my stuff, and I'm going to be the agent. And it's going to cost you $5,000, $6,000 for this project,
right?
And it's selling for $390,
right?
But you don't know any better because you don't have access to HAR, right?
Right.
But again, it's your fault for not doing the work, right? But they forget to mention, hey, by the way, the original creator is Larry, and he's still building in the area, and he's selling for $360.
Yeah.
So people come in here, with the illusion, right, that mm-hmm. they're going to sell for $390, but they're going to sell for $350. So these guys are making their money at the front end, mm-hmm. and when they're done. That's the investor's problem,
right? Because they already charged the money.
They've already charged the money
to build it, right?
Correct. Yeah. That's mainly what hurt, right?
Right.
And but dude, and I knew this was going to happen, because he was never in new construction or flipping homes. He started doing this 2 years, right? So I knew he was going to have a hard time, right? Which he started these projects, and I feel bad for the investor, dude, because he started this project, I think, June of last year. It's 1 year and they still can't finish.
They haven't finished it yet.
They haven't finished it.
Why not?
Lack of experience, dude. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, because if you have a loan, they have a loan. Because I know the lender approached me. Also he didn't know about me, right? So I explained just kind of what I'm doing there.
Right.
And he's like, dude, what the fuck,
Yeah.
So again, that's the money's there for the project, but it was just never. They just can't finish it. The fire codes are very, very crucial,
Yeah.
But once you get it, it's pretty easy.
So how many projects is that guy doing?
Between that street, right? It's between him and another guy. I think it's like 8 or 9. You do the math. If you charge $5 or $6 grand, that's the number allegedly I heard that they were charging per project.
Yeah.
Right. Plus the building fee.
Right.
Right. So, but the other guy he only bought the project. He's doing 3. Mm-hmm. He only bought the project, but didn't hire him for builder. He's got his own crew to build. And, but the same thing, dude, that he forgot to tell him about me. Yeah. You know, the same thing, he should have done his homework, right? Yeah. Everything isn't hard, right? Yeah. You can look up and say, okay, this guy's selling for this much. Yeah. So, but then this other guy reached out to me, and I'm helping this other guy just as much as I can, you know, because I am a good person, right? Yeah. And but yeah, they can't finish. Yeah. They can't finish.
So that was the first guy, and then what happened with the second guy?
So the second guy, also a friend of mine, right? Yeah. He approached me, he goes, man, I like what you do. I want to get in this business. And I don't build for nobody, right? But if you're a friend, like say you're a good friend, right? And you want to start, I'm always up for it, right? To build. Hey, JV or do this or do that, right? And I said, okay, this is what I'll do. No JV, because then I'll be taking money off your table, right? Mm-hmm. So this will do, I'll build it for this much, right? Which is, dude, it was like $105 a square foot. Cheap, you know? Cheap. Yeah. It's just for me to keep my people busy and just to help them out, dude. Right? Yeah. Okay, fine. Then he calls me like a month later, right? And then he says, hey, Larry, you know what? I really want to get into this game. I want to learn. So I'm going to do it by myself. I said, yeah, go for it, bro. Do your thing. But there's one issue. It's in the same neighborhood you are doing it. And I'm like, okay, no problem, dude. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you just do your thing. Yeah. But I didn't know he was going to copy my stuff. Right. I knew at the same time that this guy also either he was copying my stuff or writing it out, or he went with the other guys to ask him when he pay that fee. I don't know. So I told him, I said, okay, this is what's going to happen, dude. You're going to join your own. I said, it's going to be past month 7, month 8, and you're still not going to be finishing them. And you're going to be over like $120 a square foot. And he looks at me. What do you mean? No, dude, I'm going to be done in 3 months. I said, trust me. It's going to be month 7 or 8, and you're still not going to be done. Yeah. You'll be done within 10 months to a year. No way. All right. So this conversation was September. Guess where we're at right now? April. How many months?
8.
And he's not done, dude. He's probably 80%.
Yeah. What's the reason that he's taking so long?
It's just complicated. You know, those duplexes, the fire codes, it's just complicated, dude.
Yeah.
That, and then finding the team, dude. I make it look easy because my team is very solid. And we have a system, right? So by me saying system, we know what we're using, the same blinds, the same lighting, the same switches, the same everything's hinges, doorknobs, door stoppers. Everything is a system now. Yeah. Right. So the system runs the business, right? But I run the system. So that's the reason why they're always going to take longer. Anybody that does one is because I have these people pretty much full time. Right. And these guys don't have, by the time they find somebody, no, you know what? I can't do it today. I can do it next week. So that's another week. Right. Yeah. And they don't know the system of how to do things. Right. So that's part of it as well. You know, not having the right people in the system. That's all it is.
Yeah. Man, that's pretty unfortunate for a lot of people out there.
So I told him that, right. And he's like, okay. So then he posted something on Instagram. And immediately, bro, I'm very confident when it comes to, do you give me a set of plans? I could read your plans. I could tell you. So people don't know this about me, right? So I self-educated myself, like read plans and set home engineer for her to teach me, right? So I know, I know how to tell you how much rebar you're going to need, how much wood you need for your form, how much, wood for your framing, how much sheeting, how much decking, how many shingles. I could tell you everything, how many hangers, everything, dude. How much concrete, and I'm off by a little bit. Yeah. So I'm very, very good. So I say all that to say is he posted something, right? Immediately, bro. I reply, hey, dude, that's my floor plan, right? And it took him a while to respond. Yeah. He's seen it. Yeah. He goes, yeah, it is. It's kind of. I said, no, kind of, bro. It is. Yeah. I said, I'm going to call you right now. Yeah. Boom, I call him. I said, dude, fuck you. Yeah. Man, I know, but it's because it's so perfect and this and that. And we tried different. I said, dude, just call me, dude. Yeah. Say, hey, Larry, it's perfect. There's 2 guys, right? Yeah. This guy, I'm going to give you his name. There's a guy named Gilbert and a guy named Miguel in the area, right? Yeah. They came to me, bro, right, to help them out. They even used my engineer and my floor plan and my elevation. Yeah. Right? Not a problem. So when they say, oh, he's just petty because we're doing this. No, dude, those 2 guys came to me and I allowed them to do, and guess what? Those guys finished fast because I coached them. I helped them with no cost.
Right.
No cost. It's just what they've done,
Yeah.
So now
It's a matter of principle then at this point.
correct.
Huh?
So what they say never underestimate the power of honesty.
Right.
Right. So just be honest, dude. It does, I'm gonna help you out. Just be honest. Right?
Give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, not necessarily credit. Is just say, hey, Larry, your shit is good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we use it?
Yeah.
And make some money off it, right?
Right.
Maybe we'll throw something at you, and I'll say, you know what? I don't need no money, bro.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just give me credit.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people think that I'm dropping the prices because of that, because they copy, but it's not that. It's just it's saturated. The market's saturated. There's so many duplexes, kind of like Sunnyside. Same thing happened in Sunnyside. It just got real hot, and people were building left and right. And same thing's happening right now, dude. It's just hot, so we just got to control that, dude. Because if we don't control it, it'll get out of control, and nobody's gonna sell.
Yeah.
So a lot of their stuff is sitting because they just can't afford to drop the prices. To indeed, like I was saying, I could drop that thing to like 310 if there's an issue, and I'll still make money, good money.
Yeah.
At 310.
What's the reason that you can drop down to 310? Is it because of your build costs, and also because you bought the you said you bought a lot of lots back in the day. I mean, correct. Is that the reason you own a lot of these lots? Or
those lots are gone.
Long gone.
They're long gone. I think since 2022.
Yeah.
2022. Yeah.
Okay.
So everything I have, I still have 18 lots in the area.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything, I just got on the contract 2 more lots, and I'm closing on them actually Monday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the reason then that you can drop the price down is because you
volume price, volume price per square footage, right? So my framer is going to give me one price, but he's not going to give you that price,
Yeah.
Because I have them work every 360 throughout the whole year.
Would you say your competitors are mainly doing maybe 2 projects at a time, more or less, or maybe like not really to the same volume? What does volume mean in this case?
Volume, and it's how many projects you're doing a year, right? For me, right?
Okay.
So for me, volume, I tell people, and they kind of laugh, right? I want to be the Walmart in real estate, right? So I want to be, same product at cheaper price, good quality, right? So volume is doing so many projects to keep these people not having to go chase work somewhere else, right? So my framer's been working with me nonstop for the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
But he started working with me, and this is where this goes. He started working with me in 2015, but I was doing 2 or 3 a year, right? So that's where it comes where these guys have a problem, right? Because I would call them, hey, I'm going to have a project kicking in. Man, I got a project going on. You're going to have to wait 2 weeks till I'm done with this, right? So now me having them work for me 100%, I dictate and I set when things need to be done. And I kind of map it out, start projects as, they're finishing one another,
Yeah.
So that's for me, that's volume, creating X amount of a project. And like I was saying, this year I'm going to try to hit 60. And then next year, 100. Yeah. I want to hit 100.
And then, so last year you did 38, right?
30. Then like 30. Yeah, 38.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What do you think? What do you think is the reason that, like, I mean, Houston is so large, right? The set, 7 million people here, or something like that.
A little bit on there, I think six something.
It's such a big city. Why are people going into this little pocket of the city and building these lots, these duplexes there? Why not go to other different neighborhoods? Like you mentioned the second guy, and they're talking about, hey, Larry, we're going to go and do the exact same thing in the exact same neighborhood. That doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, what do you think is the reason that they're just...
So I think the reason is my whole business has always been in the spec world, right? So single family, meaning $250,000, $230,000 or under, right? Yeah. And I've created, I think, in the area, it's spec duplex, right? Yeah. Either like or not, it's a spec duplex, right? It's something cheap that anybody that makes $100,000 can afford it, right? House hacking. You get an FHA loan, you live in one and rent the other one, right? So it's hot because of what it's being sold for and what you're able to buy land, right? Because at the end of the day, numbers got to work out, right? So if you buy land for $80,000, you're going to have to sell it for more, right? It just makes sense. So I think it's hot because of the price of the land and how high the rents are. Because they are high for the area. They're all high. $1,700. They're high. Well, not anymore. 2 years ago they were high, but not at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think they're at right now?
$1,700.
$1,700.
$1,700.
Okay.
Yeah, between 16 and 17.
Yeah.
So they're telling me 18. It's a lie. You're never gonna get $1,900 rent.
Yeah.
No. I own a few in the area.
Yeah.
And for me, same thing with rent. Dude, for me, I want to move everything fast, right? So for me, I rent them at some $1,550, some $1,600.
Yeah.
Just let them go, dude. Just rent. I'd rather make $300-$400 because for me, it's not the cash flow. For me, it's just, recycling money. So I dump money and I cash out, refi, and just for tax purposes, right? So for me, I don't care about the cash flow. So that's why I ran them. As long as they pay the mortgage, dude, it's good.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so hot. It's just like anywhere that you could sell a home. Like say if you're selling homes for in this market that they're going for 220, 240, and you're selling for 180. Right? Yeah. It's going to be hot. Why? Because you're buying dirt cheap. The cost of building is going to be the same anywhere you go. So where it's going to be the difference is the cost of land. So I think it's because of the cost of land in the area.
Got it.
It's so hot.
The cost of land in that area, would you say, is a lot cheaper than a lot of other places in town? Or
yes, it is.
Yeah. And you said initially that there were like that was a rough area. You know, it kind of seems that maybe with all this new construction now, Correct. It may not be the case anymore. Huh?
No. I mean, it hasn't been like that for the last 3 years. That's why it became so hot. And dude, you're like 10 minutes away from downtown, like 12, 15 minutes, 10 or 12 minutes from downtown.
Yeah.
So right outside the loop, 610 loop.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It's close.
Very cool, man. That's amazing, dude. So where do you see it going next in that area, man? What do you like you have big goals?
Yes, right. I think right now duplexes are very, very, very hot, right? So I think it's gonna phase. Right? I mean, it's gonna just kind of balance out. So that's why I was mentioning that I always set myself goals. So I think by the time I'll become a lender, like 3 years. My goal is to be a lender in 3 years. So by that time, I think it's gonna kind of cool down the duplex hype that's going on right now, or how hot the market is on duplexes.
Yeah,
I do believe so. It's gonna, how people want them now. It's gonna drop a little.
Yeah,
not as hot as it is now.
Well, and not only that, but you're also gonna run out of land.
Dude, I think even if we're still building at the rhythm that we are in that area, dude, I think there's land there probably for the next 7 years, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of land there. Lots of land, and lots of homes that you could buy and tear down, dude. I mean, it's pretty big, man. Pretty big.
Yeah. What
and not just being me in there, right? Everybody that's in there, right? It probably another 7 years.
So there's a ton.
Dude, there's a ton
of land.
Ton.
Yeah. A lot of acres.
Lots. And vacant lots.
Yeah. What do you think is like obviously these homeowners are sitting on these lots, or are you buying them for retail costs, or how are you sourcing your land now?
I do a lot through wholesaling. Like I get them from wholesales or HR, depending. And it's coming up for sale a lot because a lot of the land that's been inherited, just kids don't want to live in the area, right? Yeah. So a lot of the older people that are dying, I think that's the reason why also a lot of land is coming up for sale, right? Because a lot of people that are dying, right? And their kids are inheriting these properties and they're just selling them, because they don't want to live in that area,
right?
That's the reason. That is the reason why there's opportunity to buy land, because of that. It's switching, generations or
yeah. Do you have like a specific price per square footage? So you're looking to pay for land, or?
Dude, I offer, low, as low as possible. I mean, the lowest possible. I mean, what you're going to get with me, you close in 7 days, 8 days, as long as your title clears and cash, we'll close. So that's very attractive, for the buyer. You don't have to wait for a loan or a month or this. And because I know the area, and there's areas in that neighborhood that there's no power, no water, no sewer. So all the areas I know exactly, because I've been building for so long in that area. So I know where's water and where's no water, where's sewer, no sewer, So.
Okay. Yeah. So it kind of goes back to kind of just being an expert, right?
Correct.
Being an expert in the area, being an expert in your process, and
Correct.
just knowing what's going to happen from the beginning all the way to the end.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And then we build them in 12 weeks, dude. So it's fast. People like
you build your duplexes in 12 weeks.
Yeah. And mind you,
12 weeks,
12 weeks close.
12 weeks,
12 weeks close, dude. Like right now we're on weeks on one of my projects. And remind you, I'm not just doing one. Right now we have 13 projects going right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And like on one set of duplex, I am on week 6, and we're already doing floors.
Wow.
And Monday kitchens come in.
Wow. How do you keep track of all of this, man? I mean, it seems like you have a very efficient process, right? You say you wanted to be the Walmart of duplexes.
Correct.
So it seems like you may have a really good understanding when it comes to having tight deadlines, knowing when people are going to come in. How do you keep track of all of this?
Dude, you just gotta, set a system and set dates, right? And due dates, right? So I'll give, sometimes bonuses to people. Hey, you finish this date, boom. You finish this date, boom, right? And so, majority of the time I do finish, but weather, you just can't. But
yeah,
my son is my agent and my GC, PM, contractor. He's everything, so he handles a big portion of the projects and I handle a big portion of the projects. So he gets a salary from me every week, and he gets all the commission of me, of all the purchases and sales.
Yeah.
So the real estate part, I don't let him represent nobody. So all his deals are mine. So you go to his HR, that's all mine.
Yeah.
So that's a big key, having, especially my son, right? He's family. He's going to care about you. Any other person, well, he's going to go in there for the paycheck, and if it happens. If it deadline gets met, great. If not, who cares, right? But having a son is different,
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of like scheduling, like I'm always really interested in like knowing about like what kind of technologies are you implementing right now? Like is it just like Excel spreadsheets, or like how are you staying? And like I had Chacon in here, and he's like, man, I have like a whiteboard, blah blah blah, and this and the third. So
dude,
how do you stay organized?
Yeah, So my daughter handles a lot of my bookkeeping, right? She's 19, but it's very because we already have a set. We do Excel, right? But if we have set prices for everything, like my AC, my electrical. So they're all set numbers, framing package, framer. So it's very easy to keep control of that because it's the same price over. The only thing that changes sometimes will be like sheetrock, but we'll turn in our receipts every day, and then she'll just put them in the system, and that's how we keep control of stuff,
Yeah.
And then the scheduling of the construction is pretty easy, It kind of starts, doing itself for what's needed for the next day, So you just got planning.
It's steps then.
Yeah.
It's all about steps.
Like say, I'll plan, okay, I want to start this project Monday, right? So once I start, the key is starting, right? After it starts, then it'll by itself, they'll start asking, right? Okay, I need material. I did this and I did, and then we'll just start feeding the business.
Yeah.
Or the project or whatever it's needed,
Yeah. I think the cheat code right now that, one of the biggest competitive advantage that you have is that you have it's almost like a small family business.
Correct.
Right. So you have your son,
it's
you
all
have
in
your
house,
daughter. Yeah. It's all in house, and it's all people you're going to trust entirely. Right.
Correct. And that's where I'm telling you, when I become a lender, I'll lend truly majority of my money to my son, so that then because he'll inherit my crews and he'll inherit this process and system that I got going on. So then it's his turn to, build wealth, and then I'll be his lender. Yeah.
It'll be the next Duplex King.
I could only be one of them. Hey, and we're going to get on that duplex. And so it's funny, because that name came from the City of Houston inspectors, dude, because they were obviously, now I know they're buddies of mine, they're friends, right?
Yeah.
But some of the guys like, dude, you're the king of these things, man. You're the king of these things, right? Yeah. You're like the king of the duplexes, you build them all the time, and then another inspector comes. Yeah, they told me about you. You're the king of these things, man. So they say anytime that we come and inspect, we're not gonna have any issue because everything's done right.
Yeah.
And that's another component that I handle a lot. So in all my inspections, it's either me or my son. I don't let nobody or the inspectors don't go in there by themselves.
Yeah.
So that's why they got to know me, So I'm always like this morning, I was in an inspection this morning.
What's the reason that you say that it's either going to be you or your son for the inspection? Why is that important?
Because it's just by time, right? Because if you're there, he'll say, hey, just fix this. And then we'll fix it. And if it's minor, right? Or he'll say, you know what, just fix it, send me pictures. And because now I've built that relationship of trust, right? Mm-hmm. Because they know that I'm going to get it. If I was a new guy, no, they'll fail. And then next day, right? And it just, especially like if you fail on a Friday, now you can't pass inspection to what? Monday.
Yeah. So you can't start with the next phase.
The next phase, correct. And then in City of Houston, depending on how your engineer does your plans, you could have up to 21 inspections. City of Houston. 21 inspections.
21 inspections.
21 inspections.
Throughout the lifetime of the project?
Correct. From the moment you start to the moment you get your final.
Wow.
21 inspections.
Yeah. Pretty lengthy.
Yeah, pretty lengthy, yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone that's out there trying to compete with you, I mean, they're facing an uphill battle.
And then the City of Houston doesn't tell you the steps or how those inspections come. And sometimes you'll just pass an inspection like, hey, bro, you haven't passed this inspection. I've seen guys that have to tear down sheetrock because they didn't pass their rough-ins,
Yeah.
And a lot of the
City of Houston didn't tell them.
Correct. And a lot of the people that build, they depend a lot on your master plumbers or your master plumber, master electricians. They know the codes, but they don't know what passes and what doesn't pass, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the part that I got educated through my engineer to see the process, the steps of how every phase of the construction goes.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're pretty reasonable. Like if anyone that's watching this or listening to this, and they may even want to get into doing something similar. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty reasonable and actually wanting to either help out or
always, dude. Always.
Maybe you have like certain plans or something. Have you ever thought about like selling your plans or anything like that?
Oh, what's to sell there? Everybody's it's very popular. It's hot out. It's out there already. There's nothing. There's nothing. No, but I never thought about that, dude, because that's another reason why I've never went that route, like being a builder, because then it would take away from me building my brand, right? Because if I were to, deviated myself to build or sell something or whatever the case may be, then I wouldn't be able to focus 100% of doing what I'm doing for me, my company, right? Because I would have been chasing money, right? And not the process. So it's very difficult whenever you're trying to build something, you got to chase process, right? When you're chasing money, then what happens is you'll be a builder, you'll be this, you'll be this. And I just, put my head down and just took the good and the bad. And then, so now we're good,
Yeah, no, makes perfect sense. Where do you see yourself besides, your lender, but where do you see your brand going,
I was thinking probably when I become a lender and I'll probably do some coaching stuff, just little, maybe say, hey, I'll lend you. All right. And if you want me to help you, it's going to be this much a month, and I'll come in there and I'll guide you through the whole thing. I have these plans. You want to use them, you can use them. They've been successful in the past. If not, that's something that I'm planning to do. Maybe not, because I just don't want to be the employee of somebody, because you'll become an employee of somebody.
Right. If they'll own your time at that point.
Correct. Yeah. Because you're on their time.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. I think for anyone that's watching this, they can probably definitely, the way that they can bring you value is by presenting you with maybe some land, some off-market opportunities.
Correct.
What else are you looking for right now for the audience at home?
I buy anything flip wise. I buy anything that it's a full rehab. So now my model of business is not TLC, right? So if you come in there makeup, no. For me, it's got to be a tear down and redo completely. Yeah. That's I don't buy anything that's not that. Yeah. So if anybody's selling stuff like that, I'll buy them all the time. I have a couple wholesalers that I buy stuff from. Yeah. So I'll buy flips and they're about 70, 80 grand. I put in them another 60, 70, 80 grand on them, and then sell them for 220, 230. So my business model is ARV 240 and under. Nothing above 250.
Yeah.
People ask me,
first time home buyers.
Yes, and people say, dude, you do so much. Why not do a $500,000 home? I said, dude, this is working for me, and I don't see a reason changing it.
Yeah.
But just you got a bigger buying pool and all that stuff. So,
well, if someone has a deal for you, how can they reach out to you there?
You get Instagram _Larry Reyes. You can reach me out there, DM me or phone number.
Yeah. Phone number? Do you want to give your phone number or
just DM me.
DM you don't want anyone just call calling you or prank calling you or something.
DM me, and then I'll just send them my number. And I've helped a lot of people through DMs and bought a lot of deals actually through DM.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
People reach out to me, so. But sometimes wholesalers get a little aggravated because dude, wholesalers never at your cost of purchase and your cost on the back end. They'll just say, okay, this much is going to cost, this much rehab, potential profit. Yeah, bro, that's not the profit.
There's a lot of other costs.
Yeah, a lot of other costs. When you see it, that's how they promote it,
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I get it. They're trying to maximize their profit.
Correct.
So, man, well, Larry, thank you so much for coming on here, man. You've shared a lot. Is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up the podcast here?
That's it. I mean, if anybody needs, I could help in any way, sure, I'll always, take my hat off and help anybody I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ask. You got to ask.
First step, right?
First step, ask.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot. I think everyone's going to have a lot of fun listening to this podcast. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.